Street Dudes pull up on No Jumper podcast. Let's talk about it, you guys. What's up, everybody out there in digital lands? KingFishMack. Another episode of the King's Corner, Piranha Pond. What's been going on? It had something happen a couple of days ago that kind of stuck in my craw. You have the No Jumper podcast hosted by Adam22, who's a white guy. For those of you who don't know, the No Jumper podcast is one of the biggest podcasts in the hip-hop genre, breaking new artists, reporting on all the new hip-hop cultural news, as well as introducing a lot of people who generally would not have had such a big exposure in digital media space, right? In spreading their or in growing their particular company, what Adam has done is hired a bunch of people who have had a particular social media presence on their own and kind of folded them into the whole No Jumper family of podcasts. One of the podcasters is a guy named Poetic Flacco. Poetic Flacco made a video kind of calling out some shit that had happened a few days ago that had to do with Tyga. Tyga released a song that apparently was offensive to the Hispanic population. There's a podcaster named American Cholo who took issue with Tyga and did an interview with him on Power 106 here in Los Angeles, and kind of applied a little pressure. Tyga eventually agreed to take down the video, which led Flacco to have an opinion on it. Flacco's opinion was kind of offsetting to the Hispanic community, gang-banging community. We'll get into that. And American Cholo decided that he would call the homies, show up to the No Jumper studios, and press Adam22, who wasn't there at the time, to take down the video. Basically just trying to check him on some street politics shit. Check this out. This is what the No Jumper studio looked like when American Cholo showed up.
You got shirts from here, though. Oh, yeah, put those on in too. Get a shirt on. Yeah.
So as you can see, whole studio full of gang members. These dudes back there, they got nothing.
Get it, homeboy. American Cholo, let's go.
All right. So to kind of go back, like I said, there was a scenario where Tyga did his video. American Cholo sweated Tyga because what he found in Tyga's music or in that video, he found that to be offensive to the Hispanic community, particularly Los Angeles gang members, baldies we call them. Here's a bit of what Poetic Flacco had to say.
Say the word coon. Do we even understand where that word derived from? The word coon derived from raccoons. The word coon derived from raccoons. That's when the white man used to work us to death. We'll have pigmentation under our eyes, and then they named us under the pigmentation they caused to our eyes after working endless days. After working endless days.
He's what he's got. He's a big black guy. He's got the big black guy syndrome, homeboy. So all I know is I got my platform, carnal. Use a fool, use a chump, and use a ghetto coon.
Now, I will tell you this, right? Now, they're saying this right here was a response to Tariq Nasheed. Now, I don't know what Tariq Nasheed said back to this dude, right? I don't know what their argument was about. But again, if Flacco would have said the S word, if I would have said WB, regardless of the context, if I would have said WB, if I would have said that S word, regardless of the context, how do you think American Cholo is going to respond?
All right, so Flacco kind of went in. And I don't find any fault in what Flacco was saying, right? The Hispanic community found Tyga's lyrics or his video to be offensive, to contain offensive language, regardless of the context. Tyga tried to come on to Power 106 and explain context and, you know, what he didn't understand or what he meant. That didn't matter, right? American Cholo was like, these are offensive words, it's offensive sentiment to the Hispanic community. And, you know, perhaps rightly so. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have the right to feel however you want to feel as a community in terms of how you're treated by another community, right? But that shit works in reverse as well. And we all know that certain words are trigger words in the Black community. Nigger, with the hard ER, of course, being, you know, the most predominant, but there are also little nuances to that, coon being one of them. And let me explain, you know, the etymology of that too, right? Here, let me do it like this. Let me give you an analogy. We all are aware of the fact that Black folks can call one another nigger in a variety of different ways, and it's all acceptable, right? Even when you mean it in the most negative manner, right? A Black person saying to another Black person, the N-word is not completely acceptable, but, you know, mostly acceptable. However, we also know that there are other words like coon, like coon and Uncle Tom are words that we use to negatively describe someone who is performing a particular way against our community. But those words are reserved for us. It is not okay for someone outside the race to refer to someone inside the race as a coon, a Uncle Tom, a mammy, or any of that other fuck shit, right? So let's just get that established, right? So for you as a community or as a representative of your community to come out and say that a particular sentiment, whether it was meant one way or another way, is totally unacceptable to you as a community, so much so that you went on Power 106 to confront an artist, right? And to kind of press the artist into, you know, removing something that might, you know, be generating income for his family, right? You're not thinking about that. You're only thinking about the way that you feel. And I'll allow you that. But you also have to allow us the opportunity to dictate to you what is acceptable and what's not acceptable to us. And I don't think that Hispanic gang members really understand that respect level, right? Which is kind of why I made this video. What I think is rolling up to the No Jumper Studios like you did, I just think that was just a weenie move, right? It wasn't a gangster move. I know it was meant to imply that, you know, shit, we from the streets, we from LA, we got numbers, and if you say something that we don't like, then we'll come up and we'll press your ass, right? And you are in our backyard, right? Like, you know, this is our shit. And so therefore we can kind of dictate how you move your business while you operating or talking about our shit. And I just don't think that it works that way. I think that is kind of like here, let me be transparent. I'm a nigga from Inglewood, right? Gang member, drug dealer, ex-convict, been in the penitentiary 5 times, some more shit. I'm not saying that to say I'm some tough motherfucker or something like that. It's not that. What I'm saying is that I have an understanding of the politics, right? Street politics as well as prison politics. And most of the street politics come from the prison. I also have an understanding of how groups of people, specific groups of people move, right? And this is no disrespect to the essays, but it's kind of how they move, right? Whenever they move in numbers. Numbers is a very important thing, you know, to that group of gang members inside the prison as well as outside the prison. Most of the issues that happen between blacks and essays inside the prison are issues that could have been resolved, you know, without any kind of violence, as long as the respect level was there, right? You can have a conversation about a problem with someone outside the race, even if it involved some disrespect that may have been unintentional. But when you group up, right, you get 30 deep and you come to talk to a motherfucker about what you consider to be disrespect, you're not coming to talk. You coming to press us. And blacks, we are, especially inside the prison, we are very accepting people, right? Like, we really like getting along with people. We don't have racial politics inside the black card, right? Like, we don't have the can't smoke behind you, can't eat at the table with you, can't play cards with you. We don't have that shit. That's y'all's politics. And we respect it, right? It's how you guys get out, right? But black folks are always, especially nigga gangbangers, are always, we ain't looking for no trouble, but we ain't running from none either. So every time that it's ever gone up, when I've been in the penitentiary, and I've been, you know, a part of a few different riots, it's always been because whatever the niggas did that may have been disrespectful, the essays felt like they just had to just roll down on the motherfucker thick with that show of force, like, yeah, this is what it is, or else. And niggas don't respond fucking kindly to that kind of pressure, right? So in the instance of American Cholo, who professes to hate gangbangers, right? This motherfucker actually does a whole podcast about the ills of gang membership in Los Angeles, right? So for him to press up 30 gang members and do a podcast where you got another gang member talking about what is and what ain't, I just think that it was pretty hypocritical. And I think that kind of behavior could have turned out to be really, really bad, right? It's like, it was cool that y'all pushed up on No Jumper, right? Because you got podcasts out here that are not ran by white boys, right? Who don't have no understanding of the city of Los Angeles and LA politics. You got podcasts that's run by nigga gangbangers that's trying to do something different with their life, but they're still not trying to fucking hear that fuck shit, right? So imagine coming up to the Dub C and CJ Mack shit. Imagine coming up to MC8 and whatever their podcast is over there. I'm just saying that there are podcasts, you know, including my podcast, right? You know, our podcast is 3 penitentiary ass niggas and a chick that's with the business, right? We ain't famous, we're not rappers, we're not entertainers, or none of that shit, but we got a voice like everybody else. So you could just as easily be offended by some shit that I say. You might get offended by this video. But if you push up to these Inglewood Bottoms with that fuck shit 30, imagine this. You show up to the studio and you got 30 of your homies and we let you in and you feel like shit. We here. Now we ready to press. It's all good. These niggas they don't want no smoke or nothing. In the meantime, you know, I made 3 phone calls, right? So in 20 minutes, you got 60 red rag niggas filing in the door behind your 30 homies that just thought they was coming up here to just show a force. Now, y'all might be really with the business and shit, right? But what does that mean? Really with the business means that we take this shit back to 1994. We start this shit all over again. It's green light days in Los Angeles all over again because you wanted to press a motherfucking podcast, bro. Like, are you really a street dude, right? Or are you really just trying to intimidate and extort motherfuckers that's getting money? Kind of like, you know, the shit that you guys was trying to do in, you know, those early 2000s. Here, let me run another video. Let me find another video for y'all. I want to talk about American Cholo and what his particular positioning was. Y'all bear with me. We struggle streaming. Check this shit out. Well, here, first, let me say this. Adam was smart, right? I don't know if, so he said that he had a poker tournament that he was deep in. It's $1 million for first place. I could certainly understand that, you know, if I'd already had it in my mind that I'm going to chill at home and play online poker, I'm not coming into work to talk to you motherfuckers, right? But it's also Adam. But here was he sent them a video when he knew that they were coming. So here's what that looked like. Beginning of their podcast.
It feels like he has a strong argument that it's not racist and that there was nothing wrong with him saying that. Then he's totally free to make that. Making no excuses for nobody. We here, whatever the situation is. You feel me? So let's play this first. Okay. Unfortunately, I was not able to make it to the interview today because I am deep in this poker tournament with $1 million for first. But I did just want to send out a statement in terms of what my opinion is on all this stuff. So we have nothing against American Cholo at all. That was never, it was never part of a big plan to like smear his name or anything like that. That was never the case. It was just the fact that he had been in the news of late with the whole Tiger situation, had just had this big Power 106 interview come out. And then all of a sudden we see Tariq Nasheed posting these videos of him saying some objectively racist sounding things. It's newsworthy. We got to post about it. Now, I do agree that the clips, the parts were taken out of context where it was just American Cholo telling a story about, you know, how he ran into some guy and the guy called him the N-word, whatever. I'm not like taking issue with that since he was just quoting somebody else. I get it. The other stuff, calling Tariq a ghetto coon over and over and over. I mean, I'm sorry. That's news. And if American Cholo feels like he has a strong argument that it's not racist and that there was nothing wrong with him saying that, then he's totally free to make that argument on our platform or whatever. But when we saw that clip, I'm not going to say who, but a bunch of different people on our staff were offended and clearly thought it was newsworthy. So we posted about it. And yeah, that's all I got to say. But much love.
All right. So I thought Adam's response was classy as a motherfucker. Like, you know, you're not fixing to just come over and just punk me. You know what I'm saying? This is my shit. You know, I'm not fixing to bow down to street politics. Whether Adam understands or not that you know, they were actually issuing a threat that he should have taken seriously, you know, because Adam has had a couple of different problems and shit with social media gangbangers and shit, right? White boy Milk 74 from 74 Hoover showed up to the studio banging on the door with a camera crew and shit, talking about he wanted to say some shit. 80 came to the door and should have knocked his ass out, but you know, he negotiated with him, right? Then you have the first of all, you had the issue with the boy who came in to do an interview, or he came in for something and pulled out a fake pistol, put it to Adam's head, some more shit. He got molly-whopped and arrested. And then you had a couple of different squabbles and shit, right? So you have some street element that's going on behind the scenes with No Jumper and shit, right? Especially with AD being there. AD's Compton Crip. T-Rail is from Hoover. So you got a couple of street dudes that's in there and shit, right? That brings some legitimacy, some street cred to the podcast. However, it's still a podcast, right? It's not a motherfucking gang. Here, that's funny that I would say it like that too. Let me show you what American Cholo had to say.
Fucking culture vulture. Because what you're doing on your platform, even after I proved that was a bullshit ass fucking video, and I think that video's still up on Instagram.
It is.
So obviously, all that is bullshit ass fucking trying to give an apology. Because this motherfucker doesn't know, and the guy who put it up doesn't know that there's consequences to shit like that.
There is
real
consequences.
I've had fucking threats on my life. I had threats on my family's life. And you and I both know if something were to happen to me throughout this time, people are gonna start dying over some stupid shit.
For real.
Over some shit that's some fake ass fucking news. And I don't think Adam's ever had anybody get their head blown off that's part of his family, or has people in prison doing life behind shit. There's kids out there that are watching this shit. You guys have such a huge platform, and for Adam to come here and say that shit and the video still be up, it's bullshit. It's bullshit, and he should be fucking ashamed of himself.
All right, so I totally disagree with him, right? And the reason I disagree with him is because No Jumper is a digital media outlet, period, right? They report the news, they do vlogs, they do a podcast, a few podcasts. They're there for entertainment and information purposes, right? It's kind of the same argument that people make about DJ Academics that I totally disagree with his shit with the war in Chirac. The criticism was that DJ Academics gained fame and clout and money by reporting on the shit that was going on in Chicago. The shit was already going on, right? It's already beefs. Niggas is getting knocked down out there, period. What Academics did is he reported on it, and he reported on it in a comical way where he gave certain individuals nicknames, deadly assassin, the silent killer, or whatever the fuck, right? And he kind of made it entertaining. The argument on the other side is that people listen to that and that they will go out and do more killing to gain more clout, or that the ops, what the ops did is getting publicized by Academics, his platform growing bigger and bigger, reaching more people, and therefore the pressure to go out and do something in retaliation to get your name mentioned or your set mentioned on the platform grows exponentially. I think that's a bunch of bullshit. I think that when it's up, period, right? These kind of conversations seem like they're only made by motherfuckers who really haven't lived that life. Even the people who profess to live that life don't have a real life understanding or division between entertainment and real life, right? Or even reporting on real life and the actuality of real life. Because what you never see, right, is you never see nobody saying a fucking thing about the Eyewitness News reporting at 11, and all the fuck they report about is the murders in South Central Los Angeles, right? They don't talk about none of the shit that happens in Beverly Hills or fucking West Hollywood and Santa Monica. We know this to be true. We know that the news is skewed to paint our communities in a particular way, and it has worked, right? Like we even think of us as predators. You feel what I'm saying? But nobody criticizes. I mean, you know, people do criticize, but you don't have the niggas that the news is talking about rolling up to the news. You won't even write a motherfucking letter. But what you will do is you go press somebody who you think that you will be able to influence with the extortionary tactics. This shit kind of reminds me of something. And this is no disrespect to the essays, but it's just kind of, I have to relate this story because it's so applicable to what we're seeing right now, right? I remember back in the days and shit, right? There was a group of Hispanic gang members who, for all intents and purposes, this was their hood, right? And there was a lot of shit that was going on in that neighborhood, drug dealing, a lot of fucking small businesses and shit, you know what I'm saying, that might have been kind of under the radar and more applicable to what I'm talking about. It was a lot of pimping and hoeing going on, right? So hoes was out there really getting their bread up, you know what I'm saying? $1,000 minimum a night type of shit, right? And it was cracking like that. This group of gang members decided, you know, because they had been basically extorting. They don't call it extorting. They say, you know, we having a motherfucker pay rent, you know. So you go get a little bit of money, a couple $100 from a motherfucker every week to operate their business. So motherfucker doing a car detailing, tire shop, fucking naturalization and you know the get motherfuckers a green card shit, all that shit. For them just even be in the neighborhood, they had to pay rent, right? Now this is not nothing that I'm revealing that nobody knows about. This is widely known throughout the Los Angeles gang communities and the hustling community. So at some point, they decided, a couple of them, it wasn't the whole group, it was a couple of dudes from their set, decided that they would press the hoes, right? They like, you know, because the philosophy was, you know, you getting $1,000 a night out here giving it to this nigga. This is our neighborhood, you know, break us off $200 a week or whatever and shit, right? And what they would do is they would threaten to kidnap the girls and, you know, all kind of different shit, right, to disrupt the money. And a lot of these pimp niggas at the time was just player niggas from all over the fucking United States that had, you know, migrated to Los Angeles because it was popping, right? Hollywood was popping. This particular spot was popping. Fig was popping. The Valley, Anaheim, everywhere you was getting money in Southern California in that particular game. And, you know, a lot of these dudes was like, you know, I'm gonna give these niggas this $200 a week, and I could, you know, my girls can do business, and I don't have to worry about them getting kidnapped. And you know, it's also the implied protection shit. Yeah, man, you ain't got to worry about your girls and, you know, all that bullshit, right? And so motherfuckers was paying that little bit of money and shit, right? Then they tripped up on two pimp niggas who was from Los Angeles. Gang history had just evolved into some fucking with hoes shit, but these niggas was with the business, penitentiary ass niggas, and they had been through all the racial shit that we go through when we in the penitentiary fucking with the essays, and all of the fucking political shit, little fucking chess moves, and these niggas just decided fuck that, and they caught these two fucking essays and they laid their ass out right in their neighborhood. Right now, mind you, it wasn't no gang shit, but it was right before the green light era of Los Angeles. So I would proffer that it definitely played a part. You know what I'm saying? In the breakdown in communication between essays and niggas on some illegal shit. Now what we have is the same type of shit, right? Brushing up on a podcast. You see that they're getting, you know, Adam is on record for saying that he makes millions of dollars off the podcast. You figuring shit. Okay, well, this is the opportunity. Flacco said something that we didn't like. Now, Flacco is black. You ain't coming to the black community. You ain't coming to black gang members and saying we need to have a summit and talk about this motherfucker because we feeling like he's being disrespectful. You're pushing up on a podcast that has the ability to pay you some rent. I mean, if you can get them to take down a video, what else can you get them to do? All right. Here, let me show you this dude right here. So this dude here was a part of the podcast. He's not an entertainer. He doesn't do, well, I think he might have been a rapper at one time. But, you know, he's just pure D Baldy. Check him out. Check out what this motherfucker got to say.
I mean, wait, go ahead, Bozo. Say
I want to say something. So I'm here to speak for the streets, for my people, you feel me? And with that being said, I abide by the laws of the streets because, you know, that's my environment. But with those environments come rules and stipulations, regulations. There's lines that are drawn. Me and AD have a friendship from before fucking I even had a buzz or anything through a mutual homie that's Mexican that knew AD way before I did.
Yeah.
So
keep in mind that this was the play
I say
too,
that to say this.
that
Like
they had
Adam is
talked to
very
AD
fortunate to have
before
you
coming up here.
because if it wasn't for you, my dog, I don't think that we would even tolerate like an apology.
Straight up.
For
Real
one,
shit.
this is our backyard where we're at. This is the San Fernando Valle, where the homies are really strong. The homies that are from this area carry themselves with a lot of pride, man.
Real
You know what I'm
shit.
saying? And this city, this whole valley that we're speaking in is to be respected. Not only on the brown side, but also the black side of the community. You feel what I'm saying? But it's true, bro. Like I told you on the phone, you're under the umbrella, no jumper. So, you know, people are going to hold you accountable whether you like it or not, because you're vouching for somebody when you wave this flag. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, most definitely.
I didn't write on this wall for a reason. When
you wave this flag is what the man said. So basically, the positioning is no jumper is a gang. Flacco is a member of the set. Flacco was disrespectful. So we coming to check your set. How does that really work, right? Like you only do that in a scenario where you know you can get away with it, where you know you're not going to be facing no real opposition. Because like I said, that could have went way bad, man, had it been a different podcast, right? A different set of people that you're talking to, because calls could have been made while you sitting in here thinking everything is all fucking chipper and shit. Your homies is back there rolling blunts and laughing and joking and shit and fucking half-ass fanning out and shit because they in the No Jumper studios and all the lights and the cameras and all that shit. You're not even thinking about that shit. You thinking about making a fucking impression. You know, I don't know what that's going to forward for you particularly, right? You know, it could be that you're trying to position yourself and shit as a fucking spokesperson, shot caller. You know, that's all in y'all politics, not in ours. We don't have those kind of politics. Another thing I wanted to say was that there was a trip that, you know, AD being the realest motherfucker on the No Jumper podcast, they felt like, well, shit, we're not going to come up here with no fuck shit. Unless we got to call AD and get it kind of established. AD is the typical brother, right? Like I say, we always want to just get a fucking along, right? If we don't have to have a problem, we won't have a problem, but we're not going to run from one either and shit, right? So AD is just being very, very gracious and accommodating. He's saying, okay, Flacco be on some bullshit because Flacco do be on some bullshit. I'm not throwing him no bail. Flacco be on some bullshit, and that could have went some way. Whoop this, that, and the third, because all AD has to go on really is the shit that's going on or has been going on in the streets. I think even in the podcast, he was saying back in the 90s, when it was green light days and shit in Los Angeles, like when it was on between the blacks and the essays, he was in middle school, right? So he don't know fuck about that shit, right? Really. And he certainly don't know about how that shit go down in the penitentiary. But like I say, a lot of us that's out here in the space, we do. You know what I'm saying? This shit is highly reminiscent of, you know, the fuck shit that used to go on, which would make it go up in the penitentiary. A nigga be on lockdown for the next year. Y'all know the business and shit. Ain't no store. You know what I'm saying? You know, them white folks, they know how to get your ass in fucking order. What I also say is that when you don't have those numbers, that's show of force, it's been my experience that every group, when they don't have the numbers, are much more prone to come with a respectful type of negotiation when it comes to a problem if they feel disrespected, right? You know, if it's only 6 of you, then you come sit down at the fucking table and be like, hey, check this here. You know, your people whooped that. You know, it was kind of disrespectful. We're not trying to fucking take it there. You know, whoop, we trying to program, you know, but this shit here, you know, it's kind of, you know, and give a nigga an opportunity to be like, okay, you know what, you right. I'm going to holler at the homie. You know what I'm saying? What do we do to make it right? You know, ship y'all ass some soups or something, box of cigarettes or whatever the fuck it is and shit. You know what I'm saying? So now that respect level is back on. See, I've been part of those negotiations too, and they always go much better. The minute that you come in the building, you know, fucking 6, 7, 12 deep with your boots on, niggas ain't trying to talk. Niggas ain't trying to talk, man. Niggas will talk to your ass long enough to get your boots on. Real spill. Here, check out your boy right here.
Mm-hmm. And when we had a conversation of the thing, but the narrative being pushed that I'm trying to take you down, and because I don't get and
no,
I'm
thinking it's the platform. Listen, no jumper. Let's say that's your hood, and your hood
No
literally
jumper
went
is
over
your
there,
hood.
smutting me up, crossed out my shit, and I'm coming to you guys. Hey, homie, you know me. Oh no, we're good. If I say, yeah, but you guys are still crossing us out. You guys are still talking that shit because it's still on the platform.
That's
No,
real shit.
no,
Come
no.
on, homeboy.
no. That
So again, I just think that this whole motherfucking play was just a weenie play all the way around and shit. Not to say that the people is weenies. Not to say that the dudes that you brought up there ain't no gangster motherfuckers. You know, the little homies ain't with it. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm quite sure that every dude that you brought up there with you was with the fuck shit, right? But what it says to me is that you're willing to crash your whole motherfucking car and shit. And your whole car right now is not in one isolated yard in one fucking penitentiary. You know what I'm saying? Where it can go up and the motherfucker just be on lockdown, and then when we come off lockdown, it's all good. No, motherfucker, you out here on the streets of Los Angeles and shit, right? Pulling up on motherfuckers, you know what I'm saying? Like you ready for that action, but what that action actually is war. Back to green light days. And it just pains the fuck out of me that we have come so far as two communities of gangster motherfuckers, right? You know what I'm saying? To where we are actually getting along, doing our shit, holding one another accountable for the fuck shit that we do on each side. Like I said, I ain't throwing Tiger no fucking bail. You know what I'm saying? Y'all expressed to Tiger that the video that he put out was offensive. He took it down. That's all respect. This shit that y'all did was no respect whatsoever, right? None. Hey, Nick Nass, I see you up in this bitch. Let's see what you got. What I say that no one could do anything because it's on video, prosecuted in safe zones for the flex. No, I think that they wasn't thinking about that. I think this, right? You know how motherfuckers say, yeah, motherfucker, you know who to call a bitch, right? Like, I think that they knew that it wasn't going to be no smoke. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think that they even considered the fact that they might walk up on equal or greater show of force. You know what I'm saying? Because if that happens, then it goes up. You know what I'm saying? And if it goes up all over the whole city. You know what I'm saying? We all like that on both sides, right? It just is what it is. And for motherfuckers to have come so far, right, away from that, because like I said, you know, motherfuckers was on the one a day program every set, on a one-a-day program like vitamins. Niggas going out on sorties like it's Iraq. Every set. You know what I'm saying? Motherfuckers were on that 100 days shit. And it was just so much shit going on, man, back in the fucking 90s with blacks and essays and shit, right? You know, and for us to have come as far as we have, generally because of music and hip hop, you know what I'm saying? That was the gap bridging thing. Everybody getting money. The fuck you want to be killing motherfuckers? The dope game is pretty much over with. Nobody getting no fucking money in droves like that. You know what I'm saying? So there's no reason for motherfuckers to even be linking up like that. I mean, those that do are, you know what I'm saying? And they only are because all that fuck shit is over with. But for you to bring this kind of scenario that just might kick all that shit back up again, I just think was bullshit, especially when you're talking about digital media. You're not talking about niggas in the streets talking about fuck your set, fuck your dead homies, motherfuckers brushing through, selling dope in your hood. None of that shit, man. You're talking about motherfuckers who you don't know have a platform on YouTube talking about shit that you brought to the fucking forefront. It's newsworthy and it is what it is. Flacco having a particular opinion wasn't what you made it to be. You guys made it as though Flacco's opinion on American Cholo and the shit that he said in reference to Brother Tariq, you said it as though his comments could stir up a bunch of shit in the streets. The thing about it is, it's the comments that would stir up anything, right? It's the shit that you said, not the shit, not him pointing out that you. It's almost like you saying, and again, I'll say this, right? Because American Cholo wanted to say that the comments were taken out of the ghetto coon comments were taken out of context. That context being here. Let me put it out here for all the black dudes, all the niggas, not just black dudes, all the niggas that's in the comment. I mean, out there watching the content. Tariq Nasheed this is the dude who his focal point is coons, people cooning, right? Again, that's our word. Tariq is black. Coon being somebody that is doing something to please the establishment that is hurting their own people, right? At one point, he made a video short where he said, it's not coons, ain't just blacks. You got some Mexicans as well, is what he said. And then he went into this whole fucking thing about what a Mexican was. Somebody who was, and he was being very disparaging and shit, right? Mind you, coon is not a disparaging comment or disparaging word towards the Mexican American race or culture. Coon is a us word. It's not a your word, right? American Cholo chose to respond to Tariq Nasheed. And what he said was, you are a ghetto coon. And this is why. How do that play with us? I'm saying, I'm as a black man, you know, it's akin to you saying, oh yeah, well, you know, you ain't no good nigga, you a fucking coon ass nigga. Well, I'm not saying it like, you know, I'm just saying, you know, the nigger as opposed to the nigga is the homie. The nigger is the sellout. So I'm saying that he's a sellout. Nah, bro, you can't talk like that, homie. You can't talk like that, period. I don't give a fuck what you responding to. It just is what it is. Accept that and move on with it. Accept that as one of the things that the brothers just ain't accepted. You guys got some shit that we can't say. You guys say some shit that y'all think we don't know what the fuck y'all saying. That's disrespectful, and we ignore that shit because it's a y'all word. You're not talking to us. You're talking about us. But we hear it like Yanta. We know what the fuck that is. No disrespect to the essays. I'm saying, you know, we just know that there's differences in the culture. And as a grown-ass man that's thinking rationally, who wants peace, who wants to retain the peace that we've already achieved, you have to fucking put some filters on some of the shit that you say. You can't just say some shit and then double back when you get some negative fucking recourse or response and then say, oh no, well, what I meant was this, that, and the third. So you need to take your fucking response down because it paints me in a bad light. No, dude, what you said painted you in a bad light. Period. All right, you guys, this has been another episode of King's Corner on the Piranha Pond. You guys like, share, subscribe, leave some comments, and join us as well Tuesdays and Thursdays on the Piranha Pond at 5, 7 Central, right here on this channel. Deuces.